Hello everyone, my name is Chris Powers. This is my speech for class. I'm a military police officer in the United States Army, and I have a speech that I've prepared for you guys. Now this speech is about my personal opinion and facts that I've gathered for this speech. And it has nothing to do with the Army or anything like that, so I'll just get that disclaimer right out of the way. So I'll get right into it. Gun control is a vital necessity to the welfare of our nation. Many people out there are supporting the anti-gun control cause with the excuse of self-defense. I believe that not everyone will handle a gun for self-defense. When one is in possession of a gun, that person has complete control of their actions and may act upon the weapon however the person may please, even if they know that their actions will harm another person. So, America's free will. There are many deaths caused by guns out there that could have been stopped by controlling the ownership of the guns. Alan Eppers once said, "Dangerous laws created by well-intentioned people today can be caused or be used by dangerous people with evil intentions tomorrow." I understand that there may be a different point of view to everything from everyone. This quote could be interpreted in two different ways, but the way I see it is in favor of gun control. The well-intentioned people are the people out there trying to allow others to own a gun in order to use it as a self-defense tool or for pleasure or for going to the range, while the people with the evil intentions are the criminals out there that use guns for the reasons that they were constructed: to kill people, to commit violent crimes against one another. If the well-intentioned people were to ban guns, this law would make guns easily acquired for criminals. In other words, it would make the possession of guns for criminals really easy accessed. Whenever a criminal decides that she wants to assault a random person in the streets, that person will be able to do so without any repercussion or without anyone's self-defense or anything like that. Once the gun control is taken away, the violence will increase. People will be able to walk around the streets with guns so that whenever there is a fight, someone will die or get fatally hurt. Now, I know what you're thinking, that happens now, but even more so without any kind of gun control. Since the CDC began publishing data in 1981, gun suicides have outnumbered gun homicides. In 1998, 30,708 deaths were caused by firearms in the United States. Of that number, 12,102 were murders, 17,424 were suicides, 366 were accidents, 316 had unknown reasons, and only 154 were confirmed to be in self-defense. But as gun homicides have declined sharply in recent years, suicides have become a greater share of all firearm deaths. The 61% share in 2010 was the highest on record. That year there was 19,392 suicides by firearm compared to 11,078 homicides by gun, 35% of all total firearm deaths. The rest were accidents, police shootings, and known causes, like natural causes and things like that. Guns are currently being used in the society of murderers, celebration, hunting, and gang activity. Guns are used in the drill team, for war, and by police officers. Guns should not be used in such ways where others could be harmed or killed. They should not be used in any kind of crimes committed by criminals. They should only be used for self-defense or pleasure, or going to the range and things like that in a safe manner. The Gun Owners Foundation says that guns save more lives than they take and prevent more injuries than they inflict. However, that is very untrue. The usage of guns for self-defense is not self-defense ratio is of 1 in 22. For every time a gun is used in self-defense, there are 22 shootings that are not related to self-defense. Also, gun violence costs the nation about $100 billion a year. 80% of the money used to treat firearm injuries comes from taxpayer dollars. As of July 31st, 2010, Florida has issued 1,825 1,825,143 permits and has 746,430 active licenses, constituting roughly 5.4% of the state's population that is 21 years of age or older. Since the outset of the Florida right to carry law, the Florida murder rate has averaged 36% lower than that was before the law took effect, while the U.S. murder rate has averaged 15% lower. But having a gun in a household raises the risk of homicide or suicide. A household with a gun is 3 times more likely to have a homicide using a gun and 5 times more likely to have a suicide using a gun. Suicide is not a crime, but it's still a death and is very bad. Guns are clearly dangerous, no matter how you look at it. Even though a household may have a gun, the head of the household may not have been trained in using the gun and may cause an accidental shooting or allow an accidental shooting for improper storage of the weapon. According to the NRA, criminals avoid armed citizens. Gun control, such as the Brady Bill, was a large stepping stone, but it didn't reduce the number of violent crimes. The Brady Bill requires a 5-day waiting period and extensive background check on the person waiting to buy a gun before he or she allowed to have one. This should prevent criminals from having a gun in their hands, but it really doesn't. There are about 192 privately owned guns in the United States, 65 million of which are handguns. An estimated 1 in 3 million guns are illegally sold or traded, meaning that criminals can still get their hands on a deadly weapon. What is really needed is better and stricter gun control, not elimination of it. Guns are very safe in the right hands of the right person who is knowledgeable about gun safety. 43% of the households with children have guns. 1 in 10 is loaded, and only 1 in 8 have a child safety lock. Not all parents are stressing to keep their kids safe and away from guns, where many accidents can happen. According to recent news, the school-related shootings are increasing in number. This certainly needs to be handled in the household where the firearms are neglectfully being left out in the open. Guns pose a higher danger in the world. I don't disagree with that. However, firearms are necessary. Guns take lives, no doubt about it. There needs to be much stricter gun control laws that prevent criminals from getting deadly weapons. They will certainly prevent much of the gun violence committed. A world without guns, except in the hands of law enforcers, would not be a much safer place. Not at all. So it starts with us. It starts at home. It starts with our knowledge. It starts with the use of practical knowledge about gun safety. I think that it should be a law that everyone who wants to possess a handgun go through extensive gun safety and training, and if found guilty of not being safe, should no longer be allowed to own handguns or weapons for that matter. So in closing, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I think that about sums it up.